Hello, this is Dr. Tae, and today's episode is we're going to talk about He Shou Wu. And this herb has become more and more popular in the last 4 to 5 years, maybe 10 years. More and more people are talking about it. And let's look at the research. Let's look at how I use it in my clinical work and how a lot of people are talking about it. Okay, so let's turn to the website. And in healthline.com, He Shou Wu in America we call it Fo Tea, and they're saying that this herb is often used as traditional Chinese medicine. It may help promote healthy aging and have anti-tumor, anti-diabetic, and antibacterial effects. But research on this herb remedy is limited. And once again, will I use this herb for people for anti-tumor effects? The answer is no. Will I use this herb for anti-diabetic effects? The answer is no. Will I use this for antibacterial effects? The answer is no. And they go about to say that, however, despite its widespread use, the herb has come under scrutiny as it may cause serious side effects such as liver damage. I will talk about that in just a little bit. And this, if you look at the picture right here, is the actual herb. If you were to go to Flushing or Chinatown, I'm in New York, so there's a place called Flushing, and there's Chinatown in the city, close to Wall Street. And if you were to walk into an herbal shop and you ask for He Shou Wu, this is what it would look like. The Latin name is Polygonum multiflorum, and the actual name of the herb, He Shou Wu, is Mr. Haired Black Mr. He. So there are multiple stories. I actually looked into my books to find out where the story is. However, I couldn't find it, but I remember the story. The story is that Mr. He lived nearby the mountains, and one day he ventured into the mountains and he got lost, and he couldn't find his way back home. And he got lost for like 3, 4 days. And while he was lost, he eventually went hungry. So he found this plant and he looked like, okay, maybe this is edible, right? So he took it apart, cleaned it, and he started eating it. He's like, this is what it tastes like. And soon afterwards, eventually he found his way home. And when he got home, his family recognized him, where he had no more white hair and his whole white hair turned into black hair. And they said, how did your hair turn from white to black? Well, he said, I was eating this herb, and thus the name He Shou Wu was born, Mr. Black haired Mr. He. And that's how the name He Shou Wu came about. The other story is Mr. He kept on eating this herb for a long period of time, and he lived to about 120 years old, and that's why they say it's an anti-aging herb and all that stuff. Okay, now, having said all of this, is this true? A lot of women come to my office and say, hey, Tay, my hair is falling out. I just turned 49. I'm close to 50. I'm premenopausal, and every time I wash my hair, I see my hair falling out of my head. I'm thinning. I see more white hair. Can you recommend a formula or recommend something I take? And this herb is the herb that always pops up into my head, and I should be selling this to them. Now, if I sell this herb to my patients, will it have this effect where their white hair turns back to normal black and they'll start looking younger and they'll start living to a ripe old age of 120 years old? The answer is no. So from an ethical standpoint, I'm in the position where I have to help people, not turn a profit. Can I sell He Shou Wu to these ladies and say, oh, look, check out the story. Of course, it's going to do this for you. And when they come in, their hair is not changing. And just give it some time while I'm making a sale. From an ethical standpoint, I don't do that. So I don't sell this herb for those reasons. Okay, now having said all of this, let's look at the real functions of how herbalists use this herb. Okay, this is from AmericanDragon.com, and I usually, reference this website. This herb is in the category of tonifying blood. Okay, so it's good for um, men and women, but I would gear this more towards women. So, ladies, if you're watching this and if um, you just gave birth to a baby and you're nursing and all of these things, if you are around the age of 35, getting close to 40, this is the herb for you. Okay, um, it helps tonify blood, meaning it not only helps you make uh, production of more blood in terms of blood volume, that's the physical aspect of it, but more importantly, tonify blood, it increases the quality of your blood. And what do I mean by that? A person who sleeps 8 to 9 hours and wakes up, their blood is fresh, ready to go and tackle on the day. And if you have those aura rings or things like that, your body will be, they're measuring um, how the blood reaches to the surface of the body and that you're more calm, things like that. Or your hands are not as cold, or what they call yang deficiency. Uh, that's what they're really measuring. So what this herb will do is it helps blood deficiency signs such as dizziness. And what I mean by dizziness, when you're sitting down and you stand up and you get dizzy, that means you're a little bit blood deficient. If your vision from time to time goes to blurry vision, that would be it. Premature graying of the hair, that would be it. Yin deficiency, lower back and knees. If you come out of an exercise and your lower back feels a little bit weak, this might be a good herb to take. Now, I want you to pay close attention to He Shou Wu, He Shou Wu, and He Shou Wu. Sheng, this means in the Chinese character, means fresh. So when you harvest the herb and you have nothing done with it, that would treat constipation to blood deficiency. If you eat it fresh, it has the ability to release toxins. So if you have like skin rash and things like that, taking it, this herb, fresh out of the ground for those reasons. Now, if you go to He Shou Wu, if you type in He Shou Wu at PubMed.gov, you will find articles that He Shou Wu injures the liver. This herb has anti-aging effects, but is not liver friendly, and all of these things. And they look at a big database of patients, and they tested it, and they checked the people with hepatitis and see what kind of the liver looks like. And yes, it is doing some sort of damage to the liver. But herbalists, from the Eastern perspective, we never, I have in my 16, 17 years of doing, prescribing herbs to people, I have never gotten fresh He Shou Wu out of the soil, go to the mountains and do that. It always comes to me cooked with black beans. So I don't know how Western herbologists treat He Shou Wu, but in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, or Korean traditional medicine, or other Eastern part of Asia, East Asian medicine, when they prescribe herbs, He Shou Wu is always cooked with black beans. And I'm going to say the word always. Otherwise, you have to specifically ask your supplier for fresh He Shou Wu. And fresh He Shou Wu is very, very hard to come by unless you know the farmer themselves, and then you ask them, can you put this aside so that I could have it for fresh? But no one in the herbal medicine that I know in America use it to that capacity. Now, having said that, if you treat it with black beans, it takes all the liver damaging components out, and that's how we use it. And I work with a Taiwanese company that sources herb from China, and they go through the scrutiny of the herbs being pure and having the medicinal effects, and they do what they call the extraction ratio. In other words, if I cook 5 grams of it in water, and the leftover juice that's left over that they dry, would have an extraction ratio because the water that condenses into it uh, to make it into a powder, that uh, powder is literally worth the weight that it was cooked for. Now, having said all of that, when they do that, the black beans always gets cooked with it. And there's a company called Ron Tea Garden and Dragon Herbs out in California. And these guys, I love what they do. And when you order He Shou Wu from them, right? Um, I don't know if they really prepare it that way or whatever, but they do have the description here. He Shou Wu must be cooked or prepared with black beans to release its power and to eliminate its unwanted potential laxative actions. This prepared He Shou Wu will not be laxative for the vast majority of users. It is prepared by boiling with black beans, and this is done in China before any other processing. So before coming here, it has to go through this process because these herbs are usually grown in China. Remember, if you take the seed of an herb coming from China and you plant it over here in Arizona or a wetter climate, that plant will have different functions. And we know that through the same seed that grows in the Korean mountains in terms of ginseng. The ginseng in Korea happens to be the best in the world. When you take the same seed and plant it in China, it is good. It's not bad. It's good, but to the Korean standard, it's not as good. Now, when you take that seed and plant it to Arizona and you farm it, is the quality good? Yeah. However, the function of the herbs changes. This is what they call biogeochemical processes, meaning the herbs taking in the soil content expresses the plant to be different. Two, the climate of how hot it is, how moist the soil is, how much rains it gets, how much um, the temperature and the wind, the dampness, the dryness really has an effect on the plant. And we see this with countless herbs that they're trying to bring from Asia to over here. Now, to create an environment artificially to mimic all these things, usually the benefit cost analysis is not good to do that. Okay, now, last thing that I would do. This herb is an herb that I would usually add in a blood tonic for women who just gave birth and they're trying to recover from losing blood by giving birth, a cut off, they were connected to this baby that's been cut off. Now they're losing sleep, and this is an herb that I would help them restore that. So, especially in high peak performance athletes, this is a great herb for them to take. Now, if you lead a sedentary lifestyle where you sit in front of a desk and you work late night and all these things, and you got bad habits, the first thing I would say, change your diet and go to sleep early to get better effects before you start taking herbs. Your lifestyle should be a little bit better. However, the people who are, go, 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 workaholic moms, workaholic, young professionals, they're working from 9 to 9 p.m. They're working some sort of corporate job and they're working out to stay fit and all of these things. This is an herb that would be more appropriate. People who are on the go, 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 go. Reason being is that would I use this one herb? The answer is no. Would I put this into a formula? The answer is yes. Now, having said all of this, He Shou Wu is an herb that I would also recommend for women who are trying to become fertile. Now, do I use this herb in my fertility formulas? The answer is no. Will I add it to some of them? The answer is yes. And that's just my style. And I'm not here to say that other practitioners don't practice it the way I do. It's just that I have a system that was taught to me from my teachers over the years, and I stuck with the things that really worked for me. This is how, and this is not to say other practitioners, if they use this herb more often, does not mean that they're wrong either. I have a high respect for other practitioners and their styles, and the uniqueness of Eastern medicine is that not everybody uses the same theories. Um, and that's pretty much it. Now, having said all of this, please know that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes, and I'm not here to offer medical advice through YouTube videos. So just take into consideration how I would use it from a clinical perspective, and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And every time you do this, it really supports this type of work. It gives me a lot of motivation to continue. And for those people who have commented in the past videos, I've made an effort to respond back. So thank you and kudos for that. And every time you like these videos, it really helps get those herbs out there and be more available to the public. So thank you. Till next time.